And welcome to the Modern Meltdown's comic book review show. I'm your host, Matthew Soul, and this week we have a few less books than we normally review. However, the books that we're looking at this week are actually pretty cool. But before I go too much further, quick shout out to our sponsor, Impact Comics. You can visit the team at www.impactcomics.com.au. The Impact Comics team has a wide range of products, from statues to graphic novels, DVDs, action figures, as well as comic books. They also have incentives for standing orders, and they ship Australia-wide. Okay, now it's time to have a look at some brand new comics. Okay, so first up this week is Jacked Issue 1 from Vertigo Comics. Now this is written by Supernatural creator Eric Kripke with art by John Higgins. Now Jacked is not for the faint of heart, and not because of the sex and violence, but because of the self-examination. If you're headed towards middle age, or you're currently looking back at the best years of your life, then Jacked may reach you on an emotional level that you're probably not going to be expecting. Now, Jacked is a day in the life of Josh, a middle-aged man letting his life slowly slip away. This issue is for the most part mainly setup. You're going to know Josh in this issue, and I think it's handled fairly well. It's written like a TV pilot trying to sell you on its themes, which is no surprise. As I mentioned earlier, Kripke was the creator of the Supernatural TV series. Now, I think the long-term goal of this series will be Josh's eventual addiction to praise, gained through superheroics, and what that means for his mental state and his loved ones. The artwork here is also highly detailed with a focus on the mundane, which is by design to show the reader just how much of an everyman Josh is. Now, the character design is strong, and I like the world that the artist is helping to build. Mundane meets superhero. Now this is the first issue and it's definitely got me intrigued, and I think I'm going to be picking up issue 2. Okay, time to cross over to Marvel Comics now with the totally awesome Hulk issue 1, written by Greg Pak with art by Frank Cho. Now this comic asks a question: what if the Hulk was a hormonal, lusty teenager who also happens to be the 8th smartest person in the world? It's kind of a weird question, but hear me out. Now, for reasons yet to be revealed, Amadeus Cho now can transform into the Hulk. Cho has always been a bit player in a lot of Hulk comics, and now it would seem that he is in fact the star. So, what does that mean for readers of the Hulk? It means that the Hulk drops a lot of the brooding and angst, and instead takes on a much more lighthearted and fun tone. Now, with a simmering anger underneath the surface, this could have greater repercussions later on in the series. But right now, this issue is mostly fun and hits the right notes for this sort of book. Plus, for Bruce Banner fans, there is a smaller subplot concerning the fate of the original Hulk that will be revealed over time. Now, Frank Cho has such a unique and evolving art style that it makes him the perfect person for this book. His character designs are a little softer, less hard edges, which really work well in the context of a more lighthearted book. Now, I'm not saying that his artwork isn't detailed. It is. His Hulk designs are probably the best I've seen in a really long time, and he gets to create 2 different but equally impressive designs, one from Amadeus and one for Bruce Banner. Now, with all the components fitting together nicely, I think Hulk fans, old and new, can find something to love in this book. Well, it's about time to review a comic that I didn't really appreciate this week. That one has to be Invincible Iron Man issue 4, written by Michael Bendis with art by David Marquez. Now, if you've been following my reviews, you'll know how much I am enjoying this series. That's why this week's issue was a bit disappointing for me. This issue really felt like filler. The plot didn't really progress, nothing was learned about the threat, where it was coming from, or why. Even the snappy dialogue was just a little less snappy. So on the whole, I'm not really sure what this issue was trying to achieve, other than to get us to Mary Jane's nightclub for another superhero villain confrontation. And when it comes to Brian Bendis, I expect more than that, especially from a series that I've really liked so far. Now, what saved this issue is the beautiful artwork by Marquez. This issue had Marquez expand his set pieces, going from a ninja fight on the beach to a packed nightclub. It gave Marquez the opportunity to work on setting and detail a little bit more. Now, I did notice that one or two panels seemed slightly flat. This caught me off guard at times because the rest of the book and the series so far has great artwork. I wonder why those panels looked a bit dull, and every time I did, it took me out of the story. Now, for a series that was doing so well, this is a real step back for this team, and I'm hoping that next month gets the series back on track. Okay, to wrap up this episode, we're over to DC Comics now, and we're going to be checking out Robin War issue 1, which was written by Various and art by Various. Now, the We Are Robin books have carried the themes of the disenfranchised very well, so Robin War issue 1 had its work cut out for it. Now, I'm really happy to say this book does deliver on those themes. The story starts in a fairly interesting way, when a young Robin accidentally kills a police officer. This causes the state authorities to impose a ban on any Robin paraphernalia, and anyone caught wearing the Robin R is immediately detained. It's an interesting read because in our current climate of fear-mongering from on-high politicians and detention without evidence, you can see parallels to real-world issues here, and it's that relatability that sucks you into this story. Now, another plus here is that the flow of the story isn't interrupted at all, which is no small feat considering how many writers worked to bring you this book. The art is the same. For so many artists working on one book, they managed to keep the feel consistent, and the artwork is definitely a cut above the rest. It has more colour than I am used to seeing in a Gotham book for sure, but I like it. Now, there may have been times when the ball was dropped just a little, but the near misses are so far and few between in this book that I don't think it detracts from the overall feel of the story that they're trying to create. And that was a much shorter episode of the Comic Book Review Show, but don't fear, many great comics are on their way, so expect much bigger episodes in the future. And if you like big episodes of things, you can check out our podcast over at www.themodernmeltdown.com, where me and my buddies sit around and talk everything pop culture. So until then, stay safe, and we'll see you again, same place, same time. Thank you.